Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf. You probably all know the Belgian city of Spa, world renowned, among other things, for its thermal baths. Not far from there is the town of Malmedy. The Malmedy Cathedral, the Abbey and a whole lot of other historic buildings grace the town. It's the 18th century. It was written about the inhabitants of Malmedy that they were honest, skillful, opulent, gracious, sociable and courteous towards foreigners. Well, that's true to this day, as this weekend they're welcoming drivers from all over the world at the nearby Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the first ever TCR SPA 500.
It is a really single race event. It's not part of a series or something like that. Only TCR cars, 500 laps maximum, or 23 hours maximum. And at the end, who is the first? Yeah, that's the car that wins.
On the Thursday before race weekend, all the cars went on a little trip.
We had the parade at Thursday. That was a really big event. A lot of people in Malmedy, because we started here at the circuit. One parade, one line to Malmedy. The cars were presented over there, the drivers were presented over there. There was an autograph session. It was really great over there. I think the drivers really loved it.
Although other series hold a parade to and from the track, they've never been to Malmedy before.
The people in the region of the Ardennes are very happy about their endurance motorsports. We are reviving the tradition of touring car endurance racing at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, so a parade needed to be part of this program. And what scene could be better than this beautiful city of Malmedy?
Circuit commentator is convinced of how important this parade is.
First edition of this race, 500 laps, 23 hours race, of course, and it was really, really important to have this kind of parade. Why? Because it's the opportunity for all those cars to come and see the public, to see the fans, of course. Some fans will go to the track during the weekend, others won't go to the track, so it's very important to have them here to make a kind of party, or first party, of course, for this race.
Drivers love the opportunities to meet the local fans and are excited about the upcoming race.
Of course, I think a privilege to be here and to do at least 125 laps, because we are with 4 drivers. I'm here with Ivo Breukers, I'm here with Rick Breukers and with Pepe Oriola, who I called myself to be a member of our team. Let's wait to see, but I'm very excited. It looks like Spa weather, so you never know. It could be wet, it could be dry, and it could be both.
Being here in Malmedy, not just for show, however.
A part of the official scrutineering of the TCR SPA 500 are done here on the city square of Malmedy, with the crowd involved. Our scrutineers are right now checking the cars under the tents, and well, it's a big part of taking part in the race this weekend.
So what's the outlook for the weekend?
We know that we'll have a Belgian weather this weekend here in Spa. It's always the case, of course. Some rain expected for for Friday for the qualification, for Saturday start of the race, and some rain also for Sunday for the end of this race. We hope that everything will be all right, but those cars, those drivers will have a typical Belgian weather.
Qualifying was held on Friday.
Yeah, qualifying we did struggle a little bit. There's a couple of drivers here we haven't spent much time on the dry track, including myself. So not quite where we want to be, but it's a huge race here. So I'm sure we can make up a few spots along the way. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was really exciting qualification. We had mixed conditions, but we had a good strategy. Started out with wets in the rear and new slicks in the front, and in the end I did 2 laps with new slicks all around. We are pole in AM, so it's really good, and then third in total, so really good.
Yeah, it was not easy because we started in wet conditions and the track was drying up. So in the beginning I was on rain tires in the rear and slicks in the front, and during the qualifying session we went to full slick, and in the end from the beginning I pushed hard and was nearly every lap on P1, and especially the last lap improved by 2 seconds. So we start from pole position, big compliments. It was good, the racing team.
Not easy to set your fastest lap on a wet track.
So, we went out on slick tires on a track that was still pretty wet. It was, drying. And if you weren't picture perfect on the right line, it was very slippery. So I turned in for campus and got a big slide on my fast lap and went off the edge of the gravel in campus. And so that was my best lap, which I made a mistake on. I'll fully admit to it.
When I went out, the rears were still on the slick tires. Most of the people on track were on rain tires on the rear. And the last corner was still too wet. There was just no way I could avoid the spin when it started sliding. But it was a really small spin and nothing happened because it was a slow corner. And for the rest, I think it was a clean qualifying with a pretty good lap on the end, so I'm happy about that.
We had a difficult qualifying. We had the wrong choice of tires, so I think we are stronger than we can see now on the qualifying.
On the grid, drivers who are getting ready to go into the car, but also competitors who are visiting the track on their weekend off.
It's kind of my schedule, so at least I have one free weekend, so I'm really enjoying it. I have a lot of time in the car, time on track all over the world since the beginning of this year, and it's really exhausting. So I take my time to calm down, but still to be here to see some of my mates and crossing the fingers for them.
Dry now before the start of the event, but still the hardest question to answer is what teams and drivers expect from this event.
You don't know. This is Spa-Francorchamps. What's the expectation? It's a beautiful track with changing weather conditions. So, what are the expectations? It will be tough.
It's always difficult to say what your expectations are because you never know what the competition is doing. But I came here just to bring a trophy home. So I saw the big one there. That's an interesting one.
Expectation, try to finish the race without spending any time in the pit.
We start from P1, but in the end the race is 500 laps or 23 hours, so it can happen a lot.
The field is on their warm-up lap without the number 125. The Audi not able to depart the start grid. Marshall's having to give the Bas Koeten entry a little bit of a help to get off the circuit. With the main straight cleared again, muscles are flexed, hands back on the steering wheel. Safety car is off the track and the full grid, -1, is ready to start the first ever Hankook-powered TCR SPA 500. As the lights go out, the battle starts immediately. Teams have to be aware this isn't a sprint race, but an endurance race.
The start was quite aggressive for everybody. I don't go very aggressive because I don't want to have a crash, because I have 4 teammates is waiting for me to give the card to him to go outside. So at the beginning, I go very, very gentle.
At the front of the field, the yellow number 175 NKPP Cupra loses a position, even though the VMAX number 85 is the first to go by the pole sitter. It's the GDL Team Australia number 9 that seems very determined to take the lead.
The start of the race were really good. We were starting P3 and managed to overtake on the first lap, so I was in P1. But we had a small setup issue on the car because we haven't tried this car on dry conditions after a rebuild. So we were eating up our front tires.
Yeah, I had a good run. I had the boost built up in the car, and I didn't think anybody else did. So, yeah, we had a good run. Those guys are really good to race with. We had a little bit of rubbing and got up to second. So.
Good news for the 125, it's in the race now, but second position that the VMAX number 85 took a few moments ago wasn't held for long, as the 101 Red Camel is now back up to second position, closing up to the race leader.
Well, Spa is amazing. I love Spa, and the TCR is a nice class. So it's not that much cars, but we got really good time on track, and Spa is amazing.
It's Pepe Oriola in that number 101 Red Camel Cupra, and he claims the lead. Rory tries to stay close, misses the bus stop chicane, and that's another position lost for the number 9 GDL Audi.
The problem with the car is it uses the front tires too much, and then it heats them up. We can't get the rear to rotate, so We tried to fix it yesterday, but it has been raining here all our test sessions, so we didn't know where to go.
Number 175 wasn't able to hold on to their pole position. It was pretty much what the team expected though, and that's why they have a livery like this.
Because we thought there were 40 professional teams and us, and us being amateurs, so we thought we would drive in the rear, so like a sort of, well, the guy who picks up the mess, and then we came to the idea to do the Dutch equivalent of the RAC, which is the Wegenwacht. So that's why we came with the idea, and a lot of gin tonic.
And perhaps the same brainstorming session also contributed to the roadside assistant telephone, which is actually able to communicate with the driver. Hard fight for second place between the number 85 and the DG Sport Peugeot 308.
It was difficult for the first one with my tire, so a lot of traffic, so it's not easy, but we have a good chance for the race.
Behind that battle in fourth, the AC Motorsport number 8 Audi, Stefan Perrin among the driving lineup. Just a month ago during a practice session at Barcelona, in the pit lane he was knocked down by another competitor. It's great to see him back competing.
Yes, it's very incredible to back on track so quickly because at the hospital they say me that my season is completely finished. Not Austin, maybe not Dubai, and I'm here. And it's fantastic.
First car in for a fuel stop, the VMAX number 85 Opel Astra.
I think we burn a little more fuel than everyone else. I don't know. My first time with a TCR car, so I don't know. I may not be using as good a technique as the other guys.
Oh no, drama for the NKPP number 175.
Yeah, Harry had a good stint. It was the first stint of the race, and he missed the corner in Eau Rouge, very fast corner uphill, and he got oversteer and he crossed over the track into the tire barrier. It was a very big hit. I saw the video, the footage from the organization. It was a very, very big hit. So the car is done, the car is ending, and Harry is still okay.
Teams use the resulting code 60, where the cars are not allowed to drive faster than 60 kilometers per hour, to do their pit stops. The GDL team also taking the time to change the setup on that number 9 Audi.
We tried to change a little bit what we had time to do here in the pit. The other driver is now in the car still. He's doing okay, but he doesn't say any setup issues, but we'll see when he comes back.
2 hours of racing, 41 laps completed. That's a couple of laps shy of our goal of 500 laps. A lot more racing still to come. This is Endurance.
We have 3 persons that are responsible for strategy and communication in our pit villa all the time, so we can see all the action in pit lane. So who's doing penalties, who's doing pit stops, who's doing tire changes. We follow our competitors as much as we can, so we learn from their strategies and adapt our strategies in case it's required.
There are only a few tracks in the world that need no introduction to racing drivers. Spa is a track that speaks to their imagination even before they get here.
I've always wanted to race in Spa, and we've got this opportunity. Obviously when I first went out, it was a bit daunting to do Eau Rouge flat out, but it was fun.
Coming here, I knew it was an amazing track, and it's to learn it in the rain is a whole different dynamic of learning a track. So it's been very difficult, but this race now is a completely dry track, so it's going to be interesting to learn that as well. So yeah, we'll see how the setup goes there.
I love to hear because Spa circuit, this is the amazing circuit in the world, and also the 24 hours race is very exciting for us.
So what makes this track so special?
Oh, boy, about 1,000 things, but it's Spa. I mean, it's a big track, it's large, it's fast, it's technical, but yeah, mainly it's fast and it's big, and there's just really no other track exactly like it anywhere.
Especially the up and downhill and the mix from very fast corners and slow corners. And also the conditions, now it's dry, but for sure we will get some rain shower tomorrow or maybe during the night, we don't know. And that makes it special.
Overall leader, Red Camel Jordan number 101. In the car at the moment, Tom Coronel, who was a little bit caught out when the code 60 came and he had to jump into the car quickly.
There was some panic because of the code 60. I had to get in, so there was some panic, but everything was under control. No, I had a good stint. I mean, it was the first time I was in the car on the dry. I felt very confident. Radio, also like Blanchimont, was every time easy flat. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a good one. I could play with the car, and this was a nice feeling.
The VMAX number 85, now 7th overall. Remember, they led the race for a short time on that first lap.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of an issue with the car, something with the wheel bearing. So hopefully it's nothing major. But hopefully we can maintain in the top 5, which is our goal for the race, and then see where we're at the end.
QSR has a specific endurance setup on the number 54 Audi.
We were really focusing on long run pace, setting the car up not for like the one lap, majorly single lap pace, but to be good to the tires over the full stint. And so that was nice to verify that we had a good race car over the long run. We've got a nice conservative setup on it right now. If it rains later, I think we'll be in good shape.
So we are now in the position quite well, but now it's too early to say. But we are happy now for the second. Now is the third stint. So I hope we can have a good race, a good result.
Great battles going on, making the Spa 500 a joy to watch. Some of the drivers have already finished their first stint, others getting ready to do their first racing miles.
I'm excited. First time in this weekend in dry conditions, so hopefully we find a good pace and keep it clean.
As dusk settles over the village of Francorchamps in the Belgian Ardennes, drivers are told to put their lights on, but Further Autosport have other things to worry about.
We lost the ball joint about 20 minutes into my stint, so I was just trying to manage the tires, doing the dusk from daylight into darkness, and first laps driving around here at night, so it was good and felt good.
The 54 has spent about half an hour in the care of their pit crew. When the car gets back onto track, it collides with Bas Koeten number 125. Both cars continue after they've been checked by their teams. Darkness at Spa, and driving for Charlie Putnam is a little harder than he expected.
We had one small error that was unforced, and that was we didn't mount the auxiliary lights when I came in for fuel and tires because we weren't doing a driver change. The guys thought, oh, it'll take too long. As long as I had traffic around me, it was pretty good. And there's, oddly enough, with as few cars as there's a fair amount of traffic out there. So whether the cars behind me or ahead of me, it helped me to have more light to drive. So I tried to stay in the traffic a bit.
Meanwhile, the number 8 crew resort to race tape to get their car back on track.
Yeah, probably a little touch with another car. This is a particular spare parts because this is really light, and I think it's work also like this with a little touch.
The drivers from Macau PS Racing are new to racing at Spa and new to racing at night.
I'm the first time to come here for racing, so I'm not used to the circuit. And then in night time, the headlight maybe not so stronger. I missed the apex, and then I turn the corner and go straight very fast. They go bend to the wall, and then the car have to repair. Yeah, I think the suspension, the wheel, and then the low arm bar, stabilizer have to change. And the front and the rear bumper also have to change.
The team from Macau are in the pit with a long repair ahead of them, whilst the car from the other Chinese Special Administrative Region, Hong Kong, also missed the corner, ends up in the barrier. Only a small sideways hit though, so the team got the car back out on track after 11 minutes of work. Past the 100 lap mark, and the number 101 Red Camel Jordan is still leading the race after 5 hours of competition. They've got a whole lap over the number 131 Top Car Sport Cupra. The Pro-Am entry of AC Motorsport, the Audi number 8, running third. In the subcategories, the Pro class, led by the overall leader, the 101, the 131 Top Car second, and Peugeot number 2 of DG Sport third. In Pro-Am, it's number 8 of AC Motorsport that leads, Viper Nissan number 65 second, and Teamwork Huff number 22 in third. The AMs are doing well too, with Holmgaard number 2 leading the class, followed by the number 110 of Lestrup Racing and the number 46 from Burton Racing. There are different brands of car on the track, but they're all in the TCR category, and they're all fun to drive.
It's great. I mean, they're front-wheel drive. They're fantastic. I spent a lot of time in GT4 cars, so rear-wheel drive, very different. But these are lightweight, high downforce, which through corners like Blanchimont and Eau Rouge at Spa, what more could you ask for? It's super fun.
I'm still adapting, yeah. So it's hard. I haven't quite got it figured out yet. I drove touring cars many years ago a bit, but touring cars have advanced in the last 15, 18 years, so they're much better today, and you can drive them a lot harder. So I'm learning that what the car's limits are.
You need to drive the car very, very eager. And if you can do this, you can drive every car. And you can see here the high-level drivers, the Oriola, Ascona, Coronel, etc. Very good. Jaap van Lagen, of course, in our car, Christian Frankenhout. These guys can run the car very fast.
We were able to run up front with those guys, and the car was working well, and everybody raced each other pretty fair. A couple of the guys got into each other, but not too hard, and it was pretty fun. I mean, I got to admit, I had a lot of fun. The cars lend that. I think they lend to good racing because the balance of performance is pretty good.
Even though this is a single type of race with just TCR cars, there are still classes within the race.
We have divided it into 3 divisions, which is the Pro, the Pro-Am and the M. And because there was a big mix of drivers, a lot of gentlemen and amateur drivers, but we have here pros, and so we have made a division in that. To give you an example, if a team has two or more professional drivers, they are in the pro category. And if a team, for instance, has all amateur drivers like Bronze, they are in the AM category, and the other teams are in the middle, so that we have an exciting race for all of them.
9 p.m. with 18 hours to go. The third Autosport number 54 is called in. Because of that earlier incident, there's a tail light out. They've managed to collect one from their trailer and install it as Chris Allen reflects on his stint.
I mean, definitely not my fault if you ask me. Of course it was the other guy's fault. They gave him the blue flag a couple times, and we were, running pretty close to each other, and he kind of turned in on me. It's my opinion. And we touched, and I held it, and he didn't.
With the light fixed, the new driver arrives at the fuel station, adjusts his rear view mirror, and it falls up and ends up in his lap. The Viper Nisa Racing number 65 is having a good race so far.
I think P2 in class or P3 in class, so not too bad. Car's not the best because we didn't have much dry running for the setup. So it all was raining, all the practice was in the rain, so the car's not the best, but we just make do with what we can and just keep pushing.
The leader in Pro-Am has their team really pushing, and this will cost them the class lead.
Normally we can put more laps, but apparently we lose some fuel on the track, and we have not enough to finish the laps, and we stop just at the end try of the pit lane.
But other cars in the Pro-Am category have problems too. The Wimmerwerk number 33 has had a good stint, but technical issues have put that car in the gravel.
Well, it was very weird because I was going into a right-hand corner, and then all of a sudden it was like shaking, and then the car dropped a little in the front, and then there was no steering anymore, and I couldn't go, so I had to stop there and then wait for the marshals because I was still strapped in. I said, "Do you see anything? What happened?" And they said, "Yeah, the wheel broke," so that was it.
The wheel rim is destroyed. The team give the inside of the wheel arch a quick inspection. Seems the only damage was to the rim itself. So a new tyre on, and the TCR Cupra can continue the race. On track, the yellow lights and flags are out again as the Baz Coutin number 125 is having trouble leaving the pit out and needs to be towed back.
The driver was not really clear about what he saw, what he felt, and what it causes. So first we need to find out what it causes, and it looks like there's a problem in the power supply for the fuel pumps. We changed also the coils and some sensors under the hood. It looks like it's good now.
More technical difficulties, this time for the VMAX number 85 on the back of a flatbed.
We had a little bit of problem with the engine, so we've been struggling a little bit actually since for the last couple of days as well with some small hesitation issues. The car was running really good. First time here, car was running really great. And then just coming out of the source, going up into Eau Rouge, the engine just tightened up just a little bit. and then it stopped. And so I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it's requiring a change. And so the guys are working really hard to change the engine out for us right now.
Although the 125 is back out again, there's no rest for the Baz Coton team. The 131 Top Car Cupra was running second. Antti Burry also struggled to get out of the fuel station.
Antti had actually the same same issue. After the refuel, it didn't fire up again, so it stalled at the end of the refuel. We tried to find the cause, and it was a broken fuel pump. And it's quite strange, as actually all parts, including fuel pump, filters, etc., was new in the car.
Night racing, always exciting here at Spa. Darkness can bring more mistakes.
I was actually on my in lap. It was the last lap of my stint. Our pace was very good, and the tires had gone off. I went to turn into the corner. I had no front grip. I hit the green turf on the outside, and it sent me for a ride at that point. So just held on, and luckily I'm okay, and hopefully get the car fixed.
Team manager not sure that fixing the car is an option.
Well, we're gonna have a look at it, but we already did, and I don't think we have all the parts. It would take us a very long time to repair, and can we bring the car safely at the track again? That's another question. It will take us more time to see that.
And also in the pits, the number 65.
We were leading our class, and also I think P2 overall. But then we had some low fuel pressure warning, so we thought it was maybe low fuel level, so we top up the fuel. But then we still had the warning for the few laps, and then we had some surge, so in the end the team called it to be safe. We put it in, then we swapped out the fuel filter.
Waiting to go in and do their turn behind the wheel, drivers in the pit lane have their seat inserts.
Because my teammate is taller than me, so it's better to do it at the back, and so that I can, I'm shorter than them. The seat is not movable, so it's quicker to do it like this when we change driver.
Paul's going to have to wait a little longer as his car is in the gravel trap.
I think I pushed a little bit too hard on the in lap because I just want to use every bit of the remaining tires. I overshoot a little bit into the T15, so I went into the gravel. The car was stuck there. Luckily, the impact was very soft because of the tire walls. So sorry for the mistake, but luckily the car is still running.
The team did a quick brake change, but they couldn't rest for long. The other Teamwork Huff Motorsport broke back to the pits. With all the problems ahead of them, it's Holmgaard who profits from others' problems. They're holding second overall. Nearly 4 hours to fit a new engine, and the VMAX number 85 rejoins the race. This is endurance.
Endurance is teamwork, certainly, and is not driving 100% every time like me. Always remain reserve a little bit a safety margin for the car, for yourself, for the team. There's no personal hero here in an endurance race.
Drivers have come to Spa from all over the world, and they're not just fighting for the result for their team, but also for their country.
We have people from all countries, even from Macau, from Hong Kong, from Australia, from New Zealand. It's amazing. So Belgium, France, Germany, call it, Italy. So we have also a Nations Cup, and the Nations Cup is for all the teams which have at least 3 drivers from the same nationality.
Kim Holmgaard is owner of EXO, who are the sponsors of the Nations Trophy.
EXO is a spray series that is all over the world, owned by me. The relation to the TCR is that I have my own team beside my own company. So just to make some fun in all the countries, I decided to sponsor this race.
The Nations Trophy is, I think, a very nice thing. We have a lot of people from all over the world, I understood. And now we have 3 Dutch people, so we apply for that rule, and who knows?
Originally, the VMAX team didn't qualify for the Nations Trophy as they had only 2 Americans, a Canadian and a Belgian. However, bad luck for their Belgian driver has turned towards their advantage.
our good teammate Ward was running in some support series this weekend, and he had a big crash. And then also we have a friend of ours, John Miller from the States. He was driving with his friends with an Audi, and then he may come and do some stints with us as well to help us out in case Ward can't drive, and then also maybe so we can now with the Nations Cup, because that's a nice concept.
But John Miller is already in a team that is eligible for the Nations Cup.
Charles and Charlie are the two Americans in that car. They wanted a third American to also go for the Nations Cup, so I'm happy to help them out. It's a little strange to be driving two cars in the same race, kind of going for the same trophy in both cars, but it'll be good fun.
As Kim is a sponsor and competitor in this race, will he claim that trophy himself?
It could be fun, yes. But I don't have 3 guys from the same country. So it's not possible to take this one. We'll take another one.
Which one?
We take number 1, the general.
Others still look in awe to that EXO trophy.
It's a fantastic trophy. What I want to know is, does the top come off, and can we pour beer into it and drink out of it like the Stanley Cup?
Nighttime racing at the TCR SPA 500 powered by Hankook. You battle the competitors and you have to battle your own fatigue too.
Yeah, a bit difficult that one, because I didn't sleep at all before that, and yeah, it was a bit difficult with the brakes and stuff like that. So, but the stint was okay, but could be faster.
Bad luck has struck Eric. In his stint, he was being overtaken by the VMAX number 85, and there was a collision.
I had a small accident with another car, and I was driving down to a wood, and it was overtaking me on the turn 3, and we hit.
I had got by him, and then we had his left front, my right rear contact, and I kind of ripped the wheels off both cars, and we both spun up into the deal. You can actually see it. It blew the wing and the deck back over the roof there and dented the roof. So, I mean, it's, 100 and I don't know how fast we're going there mile an hour wise, but it's pretty fast. So we went and looked at the video up at race control. So I take the blame. I'm the one behind the wheel. So unfortunately, I really feel bad for the guys, and we had a really good car.
Both teams needed to work on their cars. The 85 would not return to the track. Meanwhile, back to green flag racing. Steady race for the Lestrup number 110, and they've just moved up to 3rd in class.
It's fabulous. These conditions and the track and everything is really exciting. The engineers are really good at putting up the strategy. I think we are an even team, and maybe not the peaking, but we are quite even.
Into the pit, the GDL number 9.
We're catching first position by at least 10 seconds a lap, so a bit unfortunate right now. As you can probably see, we had a mechanical issue with the car. It's gone into limp mode. Guys trying to fix it now and get us back out there, and hopefully we can get back up the field again. The other guys might have a mechanical problem, and we can get back up there and win the AM series.
And indeed, another AM competitor is having problems.
We have a problem with the oil running into the water, so there was a part that was broken that we have to change. Still, we have, I think, 7-8 hours to run, so of course we keep on running, and if it can happen for us, it can happen for anybody, so now we just have to go full throttle and see where it takes us.
As the light slowly returns to Spa-Francorchamps, that once again changes the dynamic of the race.
Everything is going back together to me back again, and then having our competitor leader of the race in front of me, it was really good fun that I can follow his line and his braking point, and I can learn so much with them. So basically now very good the lines of the race.
It's not just light that is returning, but the humidity that we had earlier in the week. It's not fully raining yet, so what tyres do you choose?
I started quite dry with slick tyres in front and rain tyres in the back, and then it started this small rain, this mist rain, and I was going like that for maybe half an hour, and then we changed to full rain tyres, and it was not enough rain, so they was worn down.
The race leader, one of the earliest to change to full rain tyres, but the Red Camel 101, also one of the first to be called back in again.
Yeah, it's called back in because we are not sure about wear of the rain tires, because it was raining not quite hard, and we thought it would rain more, so we want to know sure if the wear was not too hard to complete this stint. And the wear was quite okay, so we came in to check. Now we know how long we can stay out.
With a maximum of 6 hours left, here's how it stands. Leading overall, still the red camel Jordan.NL, and still with a 5-lap lead to second. That's a 308 DG Sport competition entry. They've got a 5-lap gap too over the top car 131, who have fought their way back to third overall. The overall top three are all pro cars now, so that's their category 1, 2, 3 as well. In Pro-Am, Viper Nisa Racing number 65 has a 4-lap lead over AC Motorsports number 8. 4 laps further back, Teamwork Huff number 852. In the AM category, Burton number 46 now has 3 laps of a lead ahead of Lestrom number 110. Bas Kooten 125 running in third. Plenty of drivers here who are normally found behind the wheel of TCR cars in competition like the WTCC.
I just drive in WTCC during 5 years, and after I drive to TCR, and I win the first European Championships with TCR, with DG Sport also, with the Opel.
But this isn't a sprint race, it's an endurance race.
Normally we have a sprint race, which is just 12 laps, 25 minutes, but then nothing is left of the car, because with us it's making room. You know, we make from a small hole a big gap. So no, this is a little different style of racing.
It's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, everyone's still running pretty quick, and the car is very consistent. So I'd say we're running faster than I thought we were, and the car's been very, very consistent. And so, yeah, it's been different, but also not that different, I guess.
The endurance race, we have to think about the endurance of the car, the reliability, and also the strategy. So not just for fast lap time, also for stable and constant lap time.
Not everybody are used to these TCR cars.
Really, this is my first race in a TCR car. Together with Melvin and Farik, we came in because Douglas, the team principal, asked us to come and join to show what we Malaysians can do in the international stage.
I have raced a lot of TCR before, but for endurance race, I've done a few only. So and this is the first time I come to Spa to race a TCR car. So as the race goes on, I think every one of our drivers are learning and driving quicker and quicker.
And this race will make history for Macau Motorsport.
This is our Macau team lineup. We are the first time ever. Nobody in Macau driver will come to Europe to make so big those kind of big series or big races. We make the lineup, so we are very happy.
And the new drivers love racing here.
Oh yeah, it's just one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. I haven't been this deer in the headlights in a long time, trying to get up to speed. But it's been amazing, and it's not over yet. So we'll see how it goes.
Cooper number 101 has been leading for most of the race. That makes the team very proud indeed.
I think a good strategy. Also, we have some good drivers. We have fast drivers, and I think we take the gain in the beginning of the game of the match. And now we have to keep our position.
Not so long ago, the GDL number 9 spent 1 hour 45 minutes in the pits. 20 minutes after it returns to the track, it's back in again.
Yes, because before there is one problem in water pump, change water pump, but the initial problem is for the Audi guy is a turbo. Now I try to change the turbo. It's a long work, it's around 1 hour and a half.
The team seem to be able to handle the water on the track, but when it gets into the engine, it's game over.
There was a mechanical device inside the engine that break down, and if this break down, you mix oil and water in the engine, and oil together with water doesn't work. We try to drain it, empty out all the water, put on some new, but when this happened, there's so much stuck in all the hoses and in the cooling system that it's impossible to drain. And to not damage the engine, we decide to stop.
Earlier in the race, the top car number 131 entry was fighting for the lead. Those heady heights, though, seem a long way away now.
We had a technical problem during the night. The guys fixed it really quickly, but still we dropped enough back that we really cannot attack by driving. So yeah, now it's just to keep the car in one piece and bring it home.
Rain or shine, day or night, always action to be found on track. Is the race leader Rick Breukers off the normal racing line.
Well, of course, if it's raining, you should follow the rain lines, because on the ideal line you have a lot of rubber from the cars who drove in the dry. If you go outside the line, you find more grip, and that's why I was using those lines, and they worked pretty well because our pace was really strong.
The number 852 entry from Teamwork Huff Audi has had their door mirrors folded inwards, and it's been like that for some time.
I did my last stint and previous stint without the mirror already. So before my second last stint at night, beforehand, the car had a small impact before pitting, so the mirror gone. And then I think the last 8 hours we had no mirror.
And for the last 2 hours, the number 9 Audi was back in the pits being worked on, but not anymore.
Car is out again. Yeah, the turbo blew, so the boys worked really hard to get that fixed. I think we're out for maybe an hour and 40 minutes, but the car's going good, so happy days.
Alex Dow's just got some new tyres and he's back out on track in the 125, but not for very long.
Driver went out on new rain tires, and in the Blanchimont corner he lost the rear end of the car. It snapped away, and he couldn't control the car anymore, and he went into the tire barrier.
Good news is that Alex isn't hurt, but the car is badly damaged. Driver Kevin C is knocking on the door of other Audi teams to try and find some spare parts. That is the true camaraderie that you have in endurance racing.
I think for any form of motorsport, you need help, you need friends, especially when you have a TCR related series. You have a lot of teams running same cars, so anyone will need favor at some point.
In the Code 60, the race-leading Cupra 101 has stalled on the track. They've headed the field for by far the most part of the race, but will this be their Waterloo?
I did not have any traction control, and I could not select the diff map. So I tried to reset the car, but when I did it, it was in neutral, and I couldn't get in gear before it completely stopped. So I was down in the Eau Rouge, and in the Code 60, of course. But I could only restart the car or put it in gear when it was completely stopped. So for 5 seconds, I thought, oh no, this is it, and it could all be gone.
The reset works, and the orange Cupra continues. Back to green flag racing. Darrell Clark is finding Spa to be a real eye-opener.
I didn't expect as much rain, to be honest. I've come from New Zealand, and at the moment we're just coming out of winter, so I kind of figured that it was going to be a little bit warmer than 8 degrees, but no, it's been good.
Hasn't finished yet. A little more rain to enjoy. This is endurance.
You know, this is endurance. You got the different conditions: rain, maybe snow. I don't know. It feels snowy to me because I'm from Florida, right? But we'll have a good time. This is endurance. Long stints, very hot in the car. All the guys I raced are very good, so I'm very worn out. Good stuff. Love it.
The TCR SPA 500 will return in 2020 in the first weekend of May. Any drivers sure to return.
Oh, definitely. I think the endurance format for TCR is quite nice, and this is our first time in endurance with TCR. I think the organization has been fantastic. So if they do it in May, we might come back again because it might not rain, but who knows? Right? This is Spa.
I would really like to do the Spa 500 again. I think it's a really great race. Hopefully with a little bit more cars next year. But looking at the date, it will be in May, so in the summer should be better, and let's hope we can fight with more cars on track.
It's been a success. I mean, we really enjoyed the parade in Malmedy in the city, and good to fight against the best drivers and the best teams. So we hope to be strong again.
I'm sure we will be back. It's a great event. The atmosphere is good. We are pretty good in the game. We have many drivers that are interested in these kind of races. We have cars available, so I'm sure we will be there.
I hope I get the opportunity next year to race here, to race the TCR 500. And I'm really working on it, and let's cross the fingers to see me behind the wheel again.
On that same weekend in May, the 24-hour series will hold the 12 hours of Spa.
We will probably do both. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to the crew about it. We will probably do both. The car is sold now, and we bought a new one, so this will be the first race with the new car.
You know, we're going to run the Mercedes again full-time next year And then in May, this is a combined event with the 500. And I was a little bummed because I figured they would combine the two and then just let those guys keep going when the 12-hour was done. But apparently, I guess it's going to be a separate race. So I'm going to try and put some stuff together, and hopefully we can run the car again at that race.
It's challenging here at Spa, having a race in the night. It's really dark. You have to have very good drivers and with good skills. It's manageable, but it's a 24, it's a 23. Yeah, it's a good one.
Pram leader, 4th overall for the Viper number 65 crew. That's not their final goal though.
I'm hoping that we can do better, and I'm hoping that the weather become better later on, even though the weather forecast said it's going to be rain until finish of the race.
In this race, there's no limits to how long the driver can be in the car. This means that Ivo Breukers has just had the longest driving stint of his life.
It was very, very, very long. I stayed in the car for 3.5 hours, even a little bit more. That was really tough. We had changing conditions. It was sometimes not wise to change drivers. And the last time we went back to, I have to think, to slicks. And we put a full fuel tank. So yeah, only to come in because you're tired, you don't do that. So I stayed out the whole stint. But the last 5 laps, I had problems with concentrating.
Spa is famous for changeable weather conditions, but not every driver has taken pleasure with the rain from earlier this morning.
If the conditions are really tricky, then it's not always so enjoyable. Then it's you just want to keep the car in one piece and do a good job. So yeah, it was a difficult morning.
The unpredictability of the weather makes it hard for the teams to make the correct tyre decisions.
The weather conditions have been the worst kind, where it's not wet, it's not dry, it's something in between, and then it's wet and then it's dry. And to have the right tyre choice is not easy, and especially we have an amateur crew in the car. They've done a really good job, and we're still fighting for the podium in the class.
Viper Nisa Racing have come to Spa and at the moment lead the Pro-Am class, and they're chasing down 3rd position overall.
We didn't have any expectations about finishing well. All we wanted to do is just finish the race, and if we had placed, that would be fantastic. But if we didn't, but we finished the race, it would be good as well. During the race, we were quite lucky with the Code 60 on a few occasions. We had some issues with the car as well, but which we managed to fix. I think we've got another 20 minutes left. Just bring the car home and go on the podium.
The checkered flag will come out based on the time elapsed from when we started. So at 3 o'clock, the checker will drop. But about 15 minutes before that, the Leicester 110 is off track.
I think one of our drivers just had a bit of an off. And we don't know what, he got back up on track after that and everything seemed fine, but for some reason he went off again. Not sure if it was mechanical damage or whether it was flooding of the track or whatever it was, but he ended up in the wall again and the car was damaged quite badly, so we couldn't finish the race. You feel empty, but then again, we still managed to get the result and prove that we are quite good contenders in at least in both the senior class and in the amateur class. So we are very happy with that.
During the Code 60, the teamwork huff number 22 stalled and needs to be recovered. Unfortunately, the marshals did that so quickly that we can end the race under a green flag. Good news for anybody who have had problems is the regulations in this TCR 500 mean that even if you don't cross the finish line, you're still in the standings.
Fortunately, we get points, or we still get the P2 result thanks to the Creventic rules, which allows you to classify even though you only finish 60% of the race distance.
In fact, only 5 entries didn't make the 60% mark of the race. One car certain to end up on the top step of the podium, the red Camel number 101 Cupra, with their drivers Rick and Ivo Breukers, Tom Coronel and Pepe Oriola. They did a great job, led the race for 446 laps. They're not going to give it away in the last few seconds, and the Dutch team brings their car across the line as victors in the first TCR SPA 500. A dominating victory, a happy team on the pit wall, and WTCC driver Pepe Oriola excited about this TCR 500 race.
It's amazing. I mean, the atmosphere is this year concept. Everybody's helping each other.
and I think that there's a lot of teams with a lot of potential, but we just did better than the other ones. I'm not saying that we were the fastest one, which it was okay or pace, but we were really smart on the entries when we had to pit using the code 60s. So it's an achievement of the team and of course of the drivers.
Yeah, it was very exciting, obviously, because it was a bit drier in the beginning, and towards the end it was getting more wet, and of course it feels really good once you finish it. But I enjoyed it. It was really lovely to go through it.
The last stint was difficult because we have heavy rain. We have to keep focus and to finish the race. It was the main point, so we are here. That's good.
Yesterday they started in second position on the grid. The team from Red Camel Jordan.nl have proved their worth, and the drivers of the number 101 Cupra are on the top step of the podium. Second, the 308 DG Sport Competition Peugeot. Third, the number 131 Cupra of Top Car Sport with Baz Cooten Racing. In the Pro category, the top three identical, so all those teams get a second trophy for their class positions. And as the Red Camel team had a minimum of 3 drivers from the same country, they collect the EXO-sponsored TCR Nations Trophy for the Netherlands. In Pro-Am, the Viper Nisa Racing win the race with their number 65 Cupra, just 2 laps ahead of the Audi number 8 from AC Motorsport. Third, the 852 Teamwork Huff Motorsport entry, and they have the trophies to show for it. In the AM class, the Burton 46 Peugeot 308 saw the checkered flag and won the category, flanked on the podium by the 110 squad from Leicester Racing Team and the 125 team from Baz Cooten Racing. That makes the Baz Cooten team the only squad to pick up 2 trophies, as the Top Car 131 was also run by them. What a fantastic weekend this was at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. The first TCR 500, a great success, and we'll be back here in May 2020. Can't wait that long for a proper endurance race. Creventic, the race organiser this weekend, also has 24-hour endurance races coming up in Austin, Texas in November, and Dubai in January, which will also see the start of the TCR Middle East Series. For more information, go to 24hseries.com. See you next time.